When I was 29 years old, I got pregnant. I was going to abort, and I walked into the clinic, and then I was sitting there, and I said, no, no. She came with me. I crossed the border when I was 4 months pregnant. My name is Alina Diaz, and I am from Colombia. At that time in Colombia, it was a very rigid society. The father of my baby didn't want his family to know that I was pregnant. He was already engaged to marry a Catholic virgin. So I decided to come to the United States to escape what it was going to be the consequences: isolation, social rejection. I didn't want to endure that. The guy put me $3,000 in my hands and bought me a ticket from Bogota to Mexico. Until that moment, I was totally ignorant of that way to come to the United States. And I was wearing a nice dress. I was like I was going to the office, you know. Even I was wearing heels. And the woman who was in the house looked at me like, "Are you going to cross with that?" And I said, "Yeah." I said, "Are you crazy?" And I said, "No, why?" "Well, you had to walk through the desert." And I said, "How long?" I really didn't know what was going to do. So the lady said, "Juan can cross you," and Juan was a 15-year-old boy. I was like, but I had to do it. So we started walking from Tijuana to San Diego. I saw the car, the Border Patrol, and I said, "Psst, psst, Juan, what is that?" "La migra!" And then he just grabbed my hand and we started running and running and running and running. We ended up getting into a sewer, and it was totally pitch black. And I feel something soft. It was like mattresses. And he said, "Keep moving your legs because there are rats." We crossed the expressway. There were bushes in the media. And when you get into those bushes, it was a totally world. You see the cars stopping and asking, "How many? I can take 4. And then we just get into the cars, and we are, lying on the floor to San Diego. The sister of one of my friends at high school was waiting for me. And she started driving, and it started raining. And for the first time since I left Colombia, I started crying. Because yo no había tenido tiempo de llorar. Yo no había tenido tiempo de sentir miedo. Yo estaba sobreviviendo. But at that very moment, when I was in that car and it started raining, then everything just followed me. Now what? I'm pregnant. Now what? What I'm going to do? I ended up in the homeless shelter in Chicago. That's where my daughter was born. When I was there, I met my future husband because he was a widow, and he was looking for a person to come and take care of his kids, 3 kids. He said, "Yes, I can give you board, room, food, and I can pay you like $100 a week. All what I wanted is you to take care of my kids. You're more than welcome to come with your baby." And then, he likes me. He told me, "My kids adore your girl. I see that you get along well with them. I alone, and I need a woman like you. So if you want to marry me, I like that." For me, it was more a need to get a shelter and food and clothes for my baby and for me. He also petitioned for me, and after 3 years, I became a permanent resident. But I didn't handle any money. I didn't speak English. I didn't have transportation, so I was literally in his hands. I ended up in a very abusive relationship. He hit me so hard that I was in coma for 2 days. So again, now what? But then one day I said, what the hell? I took my children and I went to this shelter. And from then, I started going to college to learn English. I became a domestic violence advocate and counselor. When I came here, it was so many people stepping. People that I didn't know, people that I haven't seen again. So generous with their time, their energy, their money, clothes, food, that I said I had to give back that. I had to recycle this generosity. I take the same time that someone at some point took to help me. That's what makes America great.